Welcome to Conversations with Poets. I'm Michael Klam, Associate Publisher of the San Diego Poetry Annual. We're filming here at Point Loma Nazarene University, so got to give a shout out to the Department of Communications, Professor Nathan Gibbs, and also to Katie Manning over in the Department of Writing, Journalism, Languages. Thank you, Katie, so much for helping us out and getting us over here. Our supporters, the San Diego Poetry Annual, the San Diego Entertainment and Arts Guild, the Commission for Arts and Culture in the City of San Diego, and of course, our Poet Laureate, Jason Magabo Perez. Ron Salisbury, our first Poet Laureate, was the reason and he came up with the idea for Conversations with Poets. So shout out to the city for having a Poet Laureate, and to our Poet Laureates who have done a fantastic job. Today we've got Judy Reeves here in the studio. So welcome, Judy. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here.
Yeah, writer, professor, teacher. You've been collaborating and doing groups in San Diego for ages, workshops, and facilitating a great writing in town and helping out a lot of people. So have you here as a mentor and also an inspiration for all the great work that you do. Is it true that you started your first group or had your first writing group at 11 years old with your sister and a buddy?
Yes, in my tree house. Back when I was growing up in Missouri, my little tree house, we'd go up there and write our stories and read them out loud to each other.
Yeah. And did you have snacks?
It wasn't coffee in those days. It was more like cherry Kool-Aid or something like that. Yeah.
Snacks are key, I think.
They
Whenever you have a poetry reading or a workshop, you got to bring snacks. Chocolate chip cookies.
Did you bring snacks today?
Chocolate chip cookies, some up there in the studio. Yes.
Okay.
So that, you started at 11, right? And so you've had it in you since you were very young to kind of collaborate. And now, throughout your life, you've done so many workshops. What standouts do you have? Do you have anything over the years that you're particularly proud of?
Oh my gosh. Every time, last night I got to do a workshop with veterans and so on through the Armed Services Arts Partnership, and just being with them last night, that was a standout. And I can go all the way back to when I first started working with groups in downtown San Diego in the Gaslamp Quarter at the First Writing Center. I love writing marathons where we go all day long. I like to write under the full moon when we have blue moon workshops under the full moon. I like to get writers together and, hey kids, not hey kids, let's put on a show, but hey kids, let's go someplace and write together. Yeah, cafe writing. We go to cafes all over town. Yeah.
I've seen a picture of you. You're sitting under the fig trees, those trees with the big roots in Balboa Park, and right next to it says, "Let's write together," right? For a lot of writers, it seems, and for a lot of people, when they think about writers, they think of that big ego, that big writer ego. But you seem to have decided to give back. Where does that come from? Does that come from watching your parents do this kind of thing? A good teacher? Did you have good mentors?
I think there's something about an exchange of energy that happens, and so it's just, I do better when I do it with others. I don't know where I'm the third daughter in a family, so maybe that has something to do with it. Right. Always growing up with somebody else, always having someone else to play with, always having, rather than the only child, So, it's just part of, I like to be with people. I like to see what happens.
And you had mentioned before, and when we were just chatting, that you were in a poetry group down here, right here in the 70s at Point Loma.
60s.
In the 60s, right?
Yeah.
And what was that? Was that like dancing in front of the fire kind of thing?
No, it was really kind of formal because it was still part of the university. Right. It was, Southwestern College at the time, I think. Yeah. And so my boyfriend at the time was studying Russian and writing poetry.
Oh, is that right?
And so there was a poetry group, and he invited me to join. I wasn't going to school here at the time, but he invited me to join the group and read poems. And
you didn't really go the route of being a poet in general, right? You write memoir. You write from your experiences, and you write also handbooks for writers,
Yes,
right? So
yeah.
taking care of people, but also kind of taking care of yourself by remembering and getting it down on the page. What is your kind of your go-to? Do you journal
Every morning.
about experience? Yeah.
Every morning I journal. My writing practice is, if I'm working on a project, then I will journal, then I'll turn to the project and go. I'm not working on, because my book came out last year and I haven't got inside one again. So, so I'm writing lighter things like, okay, 2 pages, 1 story. You know, that'll be my writing practice, or just a prompt and doing some writing from that.
Yeah. I think of journaling as practice, you know.
It is a practice.
It's really the practice
Yeah.
for the big game, you know, especially writing poetry, because, you know, you get your thoughts down, and then the poetry part, the writing part, the work part comes when you're really getting it together for others to read. Right?
Yeah, so sometimes the poetry will just kind of appear on the page. I'm a great starer out the window. Don't you think that's a requirement for poets also?
For sure, yeah, for
did
sure.
Did you get that on your grade card in school?
Yeah.
Like Michael stares out the window too
Yeah,
much? Yeah,
it did actually, yeah.
So, you know, what I see or what I hear, there's, you know, squirrels running around or the bird. Anyway, it goes down on the paper, and then, sometimes. And so instead of saying I'm a poet, I feel like sometimes I get graced by a poem, like they come out of the writing itself, rather than an intentional, I'm going to write a poem today.
Yeah, you said out of the writing. Don't wait too long for inspiration, right? Or
Right.
you won't get very much work done.
Exactly,
Right, and it
yeah.
is, like, what about that? It is sitting down and getting busy, spending that time, you know? Steve Jobs, I think, does an hour of just puttering around the house
Yeah.
before he gets started, right?
Yeah.
It is work. So do you teach that? Do you teach that writing is work? Get busy, do it?
Yeah, I call it the work.
Yeah.
But I also think, you know, don't go to it with your fingers, you know, don't go through it like this, you know, you don't have to put on.
I must do this.
Yeah, I must do that. Like easy does it, you know, just kind of ease into it. And yeah, so if you have a place that you go every day and you show up there, then the muse will know where to find you, right? Inspiration will know where to show up. And so, yeah, it's work, and especially after you've got the words on the page and now you have to work with them, right? That's where the work comes in.
Do you encourage ritual?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you do first thing in the morning?
Well, the coffee.
No
The
chocolate
coffee,
chips in
I
there?
light a candle every morning.
Yeah.
And I have my coffee, I have my candle. I usually read a poem or some inspirational something to, you know, kind of settle me in, like that. And then after that comes the journal and just whatever wants to come.
Yeah. We've done, for Conversations with Poets, I think 24 interviews now, and every writer has said, I read first. I read in some way. I read first, you know. I get up, I do my thing, and then I read. No, I'm all over the place. Yeah. I don't have a discipline. I don't know what it is. I don't know, maybe at some point in my life I went, okay, discipline connotes a master or something, and I don't have a discipline. I do it as it comes. I do it all day, and but I do it as it comes, you know. And I surf in the morning, so I get up and go jump in the water.
Well, that's kind of a thing, though. That's like a practice.
Yeah, something about the cold water. You'd be surprised. Like, it's a good jump start to the day. It's like having a cup of coffee, I think, to a certain degree. Now, you teach at San Diego Writers, Inc.
And wherever they ask me.
And wherever they ask you, right? San Diego Writers, Inc. in about 1 hour is having its 20th year celebration.
We are
is that right?
celebrating our 20th year of doing what we do, which is bring people in to do, you know, to teach writing, to learn writing, to learn poetry. Ron Salisbury, of course, does the poetry certificate program at San Diego Writers, Inc. And so readings, classes, groups, workshops, events, all of that.
Right around the corner, right here up in Liberty Station, right?
Yeah.
And it is every kind of writing, not just memoir, not just poetry.
It's every kind of writing. We have novel certificate and novel writing programs, just drop-in writing practice groups. We hold an open space for people to come in and work and write on their projects. I don't know if we have speech writing, but present your work, workshops. We're doing one right now for Write a TV Pilot.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
I'd like to do an ensemble TV thing.
Yeah. Is that, are you thinking of going there?
No, but I'd like to do it.
At some point, right?
That's
right.
not my next project.
Starts
yeah.
with a dream, right?
Yeah, but we do all kinds of, whatever kind of writing. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you, oh my gosh, did you, I lost my question there. We were going San Diego
Remember what you
Writers
weren't going to
Inc.
ask me, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, you co-founded
I
San Diego
did.
Writers Inc. So you were there at the beginning. Was it the Writing Center first and then San Diego Writers Inc.?
Yes, in 1993, I co-founded the Writing Center in the Gaslamp Quarter downtown.
Right.
And then we moved to Hillcrest,
Right.
and we were around for about 5 years, and then had to close for a little while.
Right.
But there was a coalition that kept the thing going. You know some of them: Terry Hertzler, Sylvia Levinson, Megan Webster, and Karen Zirk.
Yeah.
San Diego Poetry Coalition. San Diego Writers Coalition.
Yeah.
That's what started the Poets in the Park.
Right.
We did that with Jimmy Collins, those first early days. And then came San Diego Writers, Inc.
Was Poets in the Park at the bench? Is the bench and Poets in the Park same, or is
No,
it two,
we started
two different parts of
the
Balboa
Poets in the
Park?
Park started under the big fig tree back under the Merton fig back in the day when you could
Right.
actually get under it.
Right,
You know,
right.
yeah. And then we had to move, and we moved over to by where the Poetry Bench is, but the Poetry Bench was not part of Poetry in the Park.
It was not. It's
No.
a different
Yeah.
thing. Deborah Ramos is running that reading now, and they
Yeah.
do it in the Grove because the
Right.
bench got broken down during COVID. Yeah,
Yes.
it got broken down, got torn apart.
Yeah.
You said the Morton fig tree, right?
Is it the Morton?
It is
Merton?
Morton. No, you're right.
Morton,
Because
yeah.
I saw that picture of you, and I was like, I've seen
Oh,
that tree, and I've been
yeah.
in those roots
Going
for
back to my
years,
roots.
and I had no idea what it was called. It's a fig tree. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's massive.
I was
Jurassic.
at a different one, but but they're fig trees. That big one that I was under,
Yeah.
that's where we had our first banned books reading. We did a reading outside under that tree.
There's an open air,
Yeah,
little
under that
plaza
tree. Yeah,
theater
you can-
there, right? Yeah, that's a really cool spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, right next to the MOPA, right by
Yeah,
the
you
fountain.
can go down, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really neat spot. It's kind of a little amphitheater in the roots, which is perfect for poetry reading, I think.
Yes, I think so too.
So your books, a writer's book of days.
Yes.
Right. This is a sort of a hands-on. What would you call it? A manual?
I'm calling it, it's a daily a writer's book. Hello, writer's book of days. That is,
Right.
it has in it small essays about the craft of writing. It has a lot of quotes from other writers. It has a prompt for every day of the year, and it has also suggestions for writing retreats to go on a writing retreat.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And it was called The Hottest Book for Writers. It won the San Diego Book Awards, and by Writer's Digest. It was one of the hottest books for writers.
That was cool.
Nicely done. Was that
Yeah,
cool?
thank you.
Yeah. And then you've had other accolades too. I think around that time you were proclaimed, or Judy Reeves Day. There was a proclamation for Judy Reeves Day. And who was the mayor at that time?
Jerry Sanders.
Jerry Sanders,
Yes.
right? Is that June 24th, July 24th?
July 10th.
July 10th.
It's
okay.
only that one day in, what year was that? 2010, maybe? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not
So
Judy Reeves Day.
I celebrate it every year.
I do too. I celebrate every day Judy Reeves Day. And then the book that you have out now, this is a journey, right? This is you decided that you were gonna just sell everything and go travel the world.
Yeah.
You had no plan.
No.
Is that right? Why did you do this?
You know, my husband and I lived together. I mean, we lived out in Hamul and had a place out in Hamul, and then Tom died, and I sold that. I didn't know what to do with myself because we had a business together that was his business, and I was with him, but it wasn't my business. And I really was restless, and I just didn't know what to do with myself. And I heard about these around the world airline tickets that you could get. And I've been a traveler from early on. When I was a little kid, my dad would open the World Atlas and we'd sit together side by side and he'd say, and this is the name, and here's Tanganyika and here's Yugoslavia, and he would say these names, and it was like magic.
Timbuktu. Let's
Yeah.
go. Where did you go?
When I went on that,
Yeah.
so I sold everything, and just because all my life I had been, I'm Judy Reeves or whatever my name was before I was Judy, and it was always a persona that I work in radio and TV, I do marketing, I work for the newspaper, But would I ever be, I'm Judy Reeves, and I didn't know who that was. So I started going, you go with those round the world tickets, you go one way and you just keep going until you get back, and you have a year to do it. So I started in England and did like 11 European countries. I went to the Soviet Union when it was still the Soviet Union. And I got as far as India, and then the first Gulf War broke out, and I was sent home. I was told to come home.
Oh,
yeah.
forced to come back.
So I only was gone 7 months instead of a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and the book is called When Your Heart Says Go.
When Your Heart Says Go,
Right.
my year of traveling beyond loss and loneliness.
Yeah.
So really it was a book about grieving for my husband, grieving for many losses, my father, but it was also, finding myself. Yeah, claiming myself as a writer.
So how many years was it before the publication of the book? How long has it been?
I came back in 1991, and the book was I started the Writing Center in 1993, and so in 2023 the book was published.
Yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
What took so long?
You were just taking that journey.
I was
right?
writing poetry.
You needed that time. You were writing poetry, right? Yeah. Speaking of poetry, would you share a poem?
Oh, Michael,
would you
thank
please?
you.
Yeah, share a poem. I'd love to hear a poem.
Okay.
All right.
Shall I share? We looked at this earlier, and we had chosen the same one.
same
So
poem.
that's the one I should read.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a poem called Skin, and I have to tell you the name of this poem. I was told that I was told by in a book called Poem Crazy that one of the dangerous words was skin. There are other dangerous words, but that's a dangerous word. So I wanted to see what's dangerous about writing about skin. So this is what happened. Yeah,
There you go.
I don't know.
Bring it on.
Okay. Skin. I want to touch your skin. I want to drag my fingers along the outside of you. I want to leave my prints on your wrist, the smooth inside where I can feel your pulse, the beat of your blood. I want to touch my palm to your thigh where your skin curves around and leads like a path to somewhere else. I want to go there. I want to know you inside out. I want to write a poem on your back, word by word on the knuckles of your spine, and let my ink sink beneath the surface of you. I want to stain you with my words, tattoo your body with my best idea. I want to be your second skin, cover you, draw tight around your everything.
And you wrote this. You wrote this for everybody. You wrote this for a specific reader, or you wrote this for everyone to digest?
I think when we write our poetry, if we are addressing a phantom lover or a phantom mother or father, in a way we're writing for everyone, you know?
For sure.
I would like other people to read that and say, yeah, I want to wrap my everything around your everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of phantom lovers, right? Isn't that kind of a thing? We all have more phantom lovers than not, right? Would you read another poem now? A new poem, an original poem of yours, or did you bring a poem from someone else that inspires you?
I did. How about if I go with the one that I brought that inspires me?
Let's do it.
The Best Poem Ever by Brian Doyle. What if, says a small child to me this afternoon, we made a poem without using any words at all? Wouldn't that be cool? You could use long twigs and feathers or spider strands and arrange them so that people imagine what words could be there. Wouldn't that be cool? So there's a different poem for each reader. That would be the best poem ever. The poem wouldn't be on the page, right? It would be in the air, sort of. It would be between the twigs and the person's eyes, or behind the person's eyes after the person saw whatever poem he saw. Maybe there are a lot of poems you can't write down. Couldn't that be? But they're still there, even if no one can write them down, right? Poems in books are only a little bit of all the poems there are. Those are only the poems someone found words for.
Indeed.
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 Do you know why I
Poetry
love
everywhere,
this?
all the time. Go for it.
Everything
Yeah.
we look at, the poetry of the... Michael, this poem also reminds me of your poetry.
Get out of here.
It
for real?
does,
Do
because
tell.
it is playful, because it's light, because it sees the miracle of the world, and it has also, because you write so many poems about your children and about kids, it has that to it.
Yeah.
But it has that, yeah, it's just, it reminds me of you in many ways.
Yeah, poetry in all things, right? A way of organizing what makes you feel good, what maybe doesn't make you feel so good, getting it down on the page and sharing it. Indeed, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were talking inside with one of the professors about the department here, the Department of Writing, right?
Yes.
Writing, literature, journalism, and languages.
language.
We gotta add poetry. Put it at the top. Just call it the Department of Poetry, right? Yeah, because
What would
all
that be?
encompassing. Yeah.
PLJ, plug job.
Yeah, you know, a full, you know, and what they do at Point Loma Nazarene University is that the students who go in who are studying journalism, they get a taste of everything and become well-rounded in
And
the literary world.
some journalism is poetry, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and the teaching across genres in the MA program, the students are not just, they're learning, but they're teaching, right?
Yes.
Right, so learn something, teach something, right? I think that's Maya Angelou, right? Learn it, teach it.
Yes.
All right, would you like to let us know if you have anything coming up or how to find your book? Like, this is your moment to let people know where they can find you and what you're doing next.
What I'm doing next. Well, as I say, I have an idea for a project. Oh, is that kind of like having a concept for a healthcare program? I shouldn't say
I have concepts. Did you watch the debate? Yeah. Do you have a plan?
But I do have a concept for another book that would be a writing book. You know, writing that memoir, and I've been teaching memoir and studying memoir for probably a decade now, and it's just such a powerful style, such a powerful genre to be able to really touch in. And so I've just found, and I've been working with so many people writing their own memoirs. So the book that I'm thinking about writing would be a book that would serve those writers who are writing or want to write a memoir. It would be that. So I won't write another memoir. I don't think I have another memoir in me, but I know I have stories in me, and I will continue to do that, and essays, and more teaching. I get to go again to the San Miguel Writers Conference in February.
Oh, you have a gig there, right?
Yes,
Are you
yes.
teaching memoir?
I'm teaching memoir. Yeah, a couple of memoir workshops in San Miguel.
Right.
Excuse me. Yeah.
This is a retreat, correct?
It's a writers conference.
It's a full-on conference. And
yeah.
what can people expect there?
Oh, gosh, they have John Irving, who's one of my early teachers through his books, is going to be one of the keynote speakers. They have this whole list of keynote speakers, workshops. They have a master a program where you can take a block of workshops toward a program. They have reading events and fun stuff to do, open mics. It's just everything. And San Miguel, it's in San Miguel. So now you got art, and you got the food, and you got just that wonderful community.
Yeah, artsy community, right?
Yes.
Yeah, very colorful. And San Diego Writers Inc., you're going to go party down right now in just a couple minutes here. When you leave here, you're going to put on a sparkly shirt and go do your thing. And they're actually having a party, right? This is going to be beverages and
yes, and there's
fun.
going to be, it's not a big program with a lot of speakers. It's really going to be getting together and celebrating writers and celebrating the community of writers.
20 years, oh my God, it's going to be a who's who, right? Because everybody's gone through San Diego Writers Inc.
You've got to come.
Well, I want to thank you. First of all, I've admired you for a very long time, as not just as a writer, but as a mentor for me. Watching you as you publish, the workshops that you do, the teaching that you do, I've tried to live a life like yours in some way. You seem to be a lot busier than I could ever be. And thank you for everything that you've done for writers in San Diego and all around at the workshops, because you go to conferences all around the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Judy. Enjoy your time tonight. Have a blast.
Thank
you
you.
deserve it. San Diego Writers Inc. Go, go, go. Once again, thank you to Point Loma Nazarene University, Point TV, and the Department of Communications. Please go to the City of San Diego's YouTube channel for Conversations with Poets and like and subscribe. And find us on Instagram at SD Poetry Annual. Thanks again, Judy.
Thank you, Michael. That was fun.
All right.